All right, great. So my name's Carl Larson. I'm sitting here in a Washington, D.C. bar with a few friends. And I've got this very bright light shining into my eyeballs. And I was asked to talk a little bit about fundraising. So a little bit of information about myself. I'm a former soldier in the International Legion of Ukraine last year, 2022. And live in Seattle, and I have a little group called Ukraine Defense Support there. We have, last time I checked, 43 active volunteers, and we've got a 200 plus person mailing list of people who've come to our meetings, and we've got pretty good work that we're doing. We've got a lot of projects we're working on. We're doing lobbying and fundraising and buying equipment and sending it to military units in Ukraine. So every group I talk to that's sending equipment to Ukraine has the same problems, and the top problem at the top of their list is fundraising. And so what I'm going to share with you is what's worked for me and our group. Our group has raised about $92,000 in the last 5 months, something like that, which sounds like a lot of money, but actually it's not. And there's a lot of other groups that have been more successful, and I think I know some of the ways they've been more successful, some of them I don't. But I'm just going to share what's worked for us for that $90,000. Okay, so we've raised all of that money in 3 different ways. So first of all, we are registered with, you have to understand, we're not a 501c3. We're registered with Washington State as nonprofits, but we're not a 501c3. So we have not been able to get any grants or any donations from major corporations or government bodies. So that's off the table for us. That is a really good idea for anybody who is a 501 or who has a fiscal sponsor that's a 501. But I won't talk about those. Instead, the 3 ways that we have raised our money are, first of all, through friends and family. Second of all, online influencers. And third of all, organizations, primarily Ukrainian, and primarily Ukrainian churches. So we give a lot of talks, primarily me, but other people in the group give presentations to Ukrainian churches. So let's start with the first one, friends and family. This is how every group gets started, and it means you individually giving money. So when I was in Ukraine, I maxed out 3 credit cards. I spent over $48,000. I was the platoon commander, and I didn't want to die, and I didn't want my men to die. And so therefore, my men needed backpacks and multi-tools and wristwatches so they would know when to go on guard duty, and headlamps so they would not step on mines, and just really basic stuff. And so I ended up paying for a lot of it. That was in Ukraine. Here in America, when I started this group, I donated probably about $8,000 or $9,000. I've donated more since then, but at the very beginning, that much, and it was just needed to get things off the ground. Plus, I still have my brothers in harm's way in Ukraine, and I'm not going to stand by and potentially let them die. So yes, you need to talk to your friends and family and ask them to donate money if you have urgent requests. So for example, you always need to have $1,000 in the bank. If you're dealing with soldiers at the front, you're going to have urgent requests that are going to be life or death. You need to have some money in the bank to deal with those urgent requests. So yesterday morning, or I should say last night, this morning, but yesterday, I sent $300 to a Legion, it's going to be fun. So to a Legion friend, a woman who is in next to the Polish border within Ukraine, and she's having a problem joining the Legion, and she needed $300 for a train ride and a hotel, and I just sent that to her out of my own money. I will probably try to get reimbursed from my group. I'll get reimbursed, but even if I couldn't get reimbursed, I would do it because it's essential that she's able to join the Legion. She's a medic. She's going to save lives. So friends and family, the members of my group have probably chipped in total of about $20,000. There's actually more than that is we haven't really kept track of because it's just individuals giving to individuals, not through our group. but friends and family are important. I don't have to tell you that. You're all probably already giving money. So the second way is influencers. So what that means is people, celebrities, or people with big communities on social media, primarily on YouTube. So for example, I have a French brother, Legion brother. He's currently serving in the International Legion. He's a great guy, love him to death. And he introduced me to a French, a fellow, I'm not going to say his name. He's a fellow with a big YouTube channel dealing with airline issues, primarily airplane crashes. And this French guy, he is an airline pilot, and he's an expert at being a pilot, and he has this huge internet community on YouTube. And so I talked to the influencer, this French guy. My buddy put me in touch, and he did a fundraiser for the International Legion, and this raised last time I checked, it was like 87,000 euros, which is like $87,000. And he didn't give all of that to us. He split it up amongst some units, but we got about 20,000, and we used that to buy 4x4 trucks in Poland. And now he's still doing amazing work. He's getting us French drones and a bunch of other stuff. He's a great guy. So that's one influencer. The second influencer that we've had really good luck with is Denis Davidoff. So if you don't know Denis Davidoff, shame on you. Go and Google him. He is the most influential and reputable daily newscaster on YouTube about the Ukraine war. He's Ukrainian, but his daily YouTubes are in English, and he's just fantastic. When I was the assistant to the intel chief in 1st Battalion, we would start out our days always by watching Denis Davidoff's daily YouTube, and then we would distill down what he would say, and we would put it into the commander's briefing that then my boss would give the commander at 10 a.m. every morning. So Denis Davidoff, we believe it or not, we actually got contact to him through email, which I would tell you nobody ever answers emails, certainly not influencers, but he answered the email, and I set up a live stream chat with him. I sent him a bunch of videos about myself and about the Legion, and he ended up doing a live stream with the Legion, and he raised, about, we're not sure exactly how much came in through him, but between $5,000 and $7,000 between two different organizations that I work with. So that's fantastic. And we've had other influencers who have given us shout outs on their social media, or they have given us advice. It's great to connect with influencers even if you don't directly make money through them. So we have a file, we have a list of about, last time I checked, about 80 influencers, and we send them messages on Instagram and LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, whatever. LinkedIn actually works really well. I'll be honest, most of the time they don't answer. Most of the time it's just shouting into the wind. But, I would say we have about a 20% response rate from the social media reach outs. What would be really effective is to look up their phone numbers, because I got about a 90% close rate on if I can talk to somebody on the phone, because I have a pretty good story. And so therefore I recommend, if you're going to reach out to influencers, try to get their phone number, and there's ways to do that. There's a program called White Pages. If you can find out the location of where they live and their actual name, you can look up their actual phone number and call them. So influencers are important. The third way is community organizations, primarily churches. And so Washington State, where I live, has a huge amount of Ukrainian churches. We have 67 Slavic churches or Slavic centers, of which 2/3 are Ukrainian. And we got this list from a Russian magazine called Perspective. We looked it up online, and they have a list of all the Slavic churches in the entire state, and we put them into a Google sheet, and then we organized them by size and denomination and whether or not they were Russian or Ukrainian or Moldovan or Belarusian, whatever. And then we systematically started contacting them and setting up presentations. I give the we have 3 speakers. So there's me, and then there's Uliana, who is a civilian volunteer. She's an American of Ukrainian descent. She's currently in Kiev, but she was back home for months, and she would go to these churches, and she would talk about her experience as a civilian volunteer over there, and that was very effective. And then we have another guy, Bumper is his code name, David, and he was a civilian volunteer in Ukraine as well, and he would give talks about his experience there. So all 3 of us have presentations, we have PowerPoints, and sometimes we would give the presentations together, me and Uliana, or me and Bumper. And anyway, we would figure it out with the individual pastor, what was appropriate for the individual church. I've given presentations to veterans groups, and those presentations tend to have a lot of pictures of dead orcs in them, let's say. The presentations to churches tend to be much less about dead orcs and more about helping soldiers not freeze to death, Ukrainian soldiers not freeze to death in the freezing cold, things like that. So these presentations, I have a bunch of pictures of my time over there, and then at the end I have the section of how you can help. And then I have a list of the various projects that Ukraine Defense Support is working on. And I mentioned, of course, that we have 2 meetings every week, and that we have Zoom calls for people who can't come to our meetings. And I just hit the point over and over again that there's many ways to volunteer. A lot of people just think that you can all you can do is send a check. You write a check and give it, and you don't know what happens to it, and that's all you can do to help. But no, there's actually a million ways to help. You can help with lobbying. I'm here in Washington, D.C. doing this. There's a lot of ways to help. Or you can help on the equipment fundraising side. There's a lot of ways to help there too. Or you can take 2 weeks off work and do what Uliana did or Bumper did and actually go to Ukraine and volunteer there doing logistics or rebuilding destroyed homes in Bucha or any of the other million ways that Ukraine needs help right now. So those are the 3 main ways that we've raised $90,000. There's some other miscellaneous ways, and like I say, in the future we are going to expand our methods. We're gonna start working on grants, especially from big companies, and then we're going to start sending a monthly newsletter. We've sent newsletters before, and we haven't really gotten a lot of money, but we're gonna really push that hard. We're maybe even gonna buy some mailing lists, and then we've tried Facebook ads. It hasn't been that effective. We might circle back to that. We'll see. But there's many different ways to fundraise, but those are the 3 main ways that we've been most successful. So let me know any questions about that, or most importantly, if you have any suggestions for fundraising, please message them or put them in the comments, because we're all in this together. We're all trying to support the Ukrainian military, so we should not hide any ways to get more money from affluent Americans transformed into equipment that ends up in the hands of Ukraine's defenders. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.